It is college football's version of the NFL draft. And of course, it's the second version with the first signing day in December over the last 4 years, but there's still some big catches out there. And Ole Miss grabbed one today. We got Jake Evans on the line from the Rebel Walk to help us break down Lane Kiffin's efforts on the recruiting trail. Jake, how you doing today?
Mark, I'm having a great day. I'm having a great day. National Signing Day is not always something that goes particularly well for the Rebels. There's been a lot of years where we've kind of been plagued with the whole, getting a hat on the table but not being picked type of situation. We've had that play out against us more times than I can count in my life. But yeah, today, Tywone Malone, the big fish for the Rebels, he picked up the right hat today, so all is well.
Yeah, so not necessarily out of the a part of the country that we would expect Ole Miss to be getting a top 5 player at his position.
Yeah, no, and like we were kind of talking about there earlier, I think that I think that you can credit a lot of that to Chris Partridge, Ole Miss's co-defensive coordinator. I think he's got a lot of roots up in the Midwest and the Northeast, having been at Michigan for the last handful of years. I think he's got a lot of ties with a lot of good players like Malone, and I think, like I said, we can credit a lot of this to him. Like you said, kids from 1,100 miles away. He's only been to campus a handful of times, and it was all on his own dime, getting himself down here. But yeah, when it came down to it, it was Ole Miss and Texas A&M. And the unique thing about this guy, he's 6'4", 300 pounds. He's an interior defensive lineman with SEC, size, skill set, everything. But he's also a heck of a baseball player. And that was kind of the big wild card in all of this was, which sport was going to weigh more heavily. A lot of the rumors said that he preferred Texas A&M football, but Ole Miss baseball a lot more. So really it was kind of coming down to the last second. Everybody was trying to get their inside information, from all the sources and everything, and he kept it pretty tight. He kept it close to the chest, and I really don't think anybody knew for certain until he picked up the hat.
Well, with those measurements, I'm sure he can hit a baseball a country mile.
I sure hope so. We're excited to see. He's missing his spring baseball season right now. Tore his ACL back in the fall. Recovery's going well, everything like that. He's on schedule, but he won't be playing baseball in the spring. So I guess, for Rebel football fans, that's good. Give him some extra time to kind of work himself back, get ready to, play SEC football. So, because of that, I think it's a long shot that he'll play this year in football. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets healthy and he learns the system. He fits in physically and athletically just as well as anybody else on that defensive line.
Okay, we're not going to put any kind of damper or downer on this class and try to compare it to the rest of the SEC West, because that's crazy. It's the 18th rated. It's the 18th rated class in the country.
Mm-hmm.
It's number 7 in the SEC. But when you get into the top 20 in the country, that's a pretty significant step right there.
Yeah, and like I think we talked about it when we were on here last time. This is a great sign for the future. This is something that Ole Miss has been starving for the last 5 or 6 years. Really ever since Hugh Freeze was here. He pulled big classes back in the day with Laquan Treadwell, Robert Kimbichi, guys like that. And he kind of brought Ole Miss back into the national spotlight and sort of made us a household name again. Obviously things went south there pretty quick. We fell out of, like I said, of that spotlight very, very quickly. Kind of dropped off, like I said, things weren't going very well, but yeah, this is a great sign for the future. This is, Kiffin's real first cycle. And he's already managed to put together one of the best classes that we've seen in a while. So most of these guys he took, actually everybody in this class, but Tywone Malone, all signed back in December. Handful of them are already on campus, including Luke Altmaier, quarterback out of Starkville. He was the top player in this class, until about an hour and a half ago. But so, yeah, there's a lot of promise in this class. There's a lot of optimism just because what he was able to do, what Kiffin was able to do in year one with the team that he didn't even assemble, that was a big light at the end of the tunnel for us because, we said, hey, even though we didn't put together a phenomenal record this year, even though we didn't, beat the Alabamas and the LSUs and everybody like that, we're still just very optimistic with where we're headed, because at this point, you expect year 2 and 3 down the road is when a guy like Kiffin really gets the engine, really gets the wheels turning, when he's got his guys and his system. And so, like I said, the fact that he was able to do all of this in year 1, really good sign for the future. We're really happy.
All right, folks, we're talking Ole Miss football. We got Jake Evans on the line from the Rebel Walk, and we will invite you to leave any comments or questions that you've got there in the live chat, and we'll pass them on to Jake, or I will address if I've got some kind of opinion myself. All right, I'm looking at the schedule here. You got an opening Monday night affair with Louisville in Atlanta. That's an interesting date right there. Austin Peay, Tulane, and Liberty. Liberty obviously took down some big programs this past year, and you get to see your old buddy Hugh Freeze there.
Yeah, looking at this schedule, I'm very excited about it. Honestly, I mean, I think most Ole Miss, I think most Ole Miss fans every single year when the schedule comes out, they look at it and they go, man, we're going 9-3 this year. It's happening. We might even win 10 if we're lucky. And then we usually win about 6 or 7. So, there's a lot of, I guess, false optimism that happens just with these schedules. But yeah, no, looking at this with the, direction the program's heading, with how successful it was last year, I think we're looking at a really good 2021 here for the Rebs. That kickoff, that Chick-fil-A kickoff game in Atlanta with Louisville, that's going to be a great game. That's actually I'm just putting 2 and 2 together and realizing that's on my birthday, so that's either going to be a really, really fun day or a really, really sad day for me. But yeah, then you come out, you play week 1 against Louisville, and then you get 2 more cupcake games. You get Austin Peay and Tulane. Those will be, hopefully we're looking at 3-0 at that point. And then the Rebels just get absolutely tossed into the blender after that. We get the bye in week 4, and then it's just straight SEC play all the way out, with the Liberty game, being the exception jam there between Auburn and Texas A&M. But, it's going to be a tough schedule for Ole Miss. I mean, if Ole Miss can put together a solid winning season with this schedule, we'd be even, happier than normal years, just because, in the SEC, you need a break at some point. You need a break somewhere in there around week 7 or 8, something like that, just for health, regrouping, everything. And sadly, Ole Miss doesn't get that this year. Like I said, they get put right there in the gauntlet, and it's going to be, a long stretch there after week 4. That hopefully they're playing good football. I think the way Lane Kiffin plays, and I think the way his offense works, I think it can carry over, energy and momentum from one week to the other. I think that's something that this offense can, is capable of. And so, if we're playing good football after a couple weeks, I like it. I like it because I think we'll be able to keep it rolling. But obviously things might not go that way just because of this grueling SEC schedule. But yeah, there's a lot of good things to see in the schedule here. I mean, like I said, if Ole Miss puts together a solid season, it will be completely justified, no way around it. And then it's poetic that Hugh Freeze gets to come back and try his first SEC school, and it be Ole Miss. I mean, it's just absolutely poetic.
Yeah, there's going to be a ton of attention around that game. It's going to be a whole lot of fun to see the scene there when Liberty comes to town. And as you mentioned, you want that either break through a bye week or a Citadel, Tennessee, Chattanooga kind of opponent. And you would normally get that with Liberty, but they play some pretty serious football under Hugh Freeze. They were for real this past year. I don't know exactly what they've got coming back, but with him running the show, I'm expecting they're going to be pretty formidable. So you don't get that bye week in quotes that you normally would right there. Right.
Yeah. And that's it's nice because nobody's going to give Ole Miss credit for beating a cupcake in what is that week? I guess 8 or 9. Nobody's going to give Ole Miss credit for beating a cupcake at that point. And so honestly, I kind of like that it's a Liberty because it gives Ole Miss a chance to say, look, this is a legitimate team. This is a team that was ranked all of last year. They've had success. And so, I really think it would be, obviously it's not going to look as good as an SEC win, but that's a win that you can actually kind of hang your hat on and go, hey, look, we beat a pretty solid team that a lot of people are looking at. Obviously, like I said, it doesn't match up with an SEC win, but it would still be a great one. It'll be weird having Hugh Freeze back in Oxford. I think if Liberty's playing well at that point, undefeated, one loss, something like that, we might be looking at, I don't know, we might be looking at a nationally televised game. I mean, if you don't think that national TV wants to see Lane Kiffin and Hugh Freeze square off in Oxford, then you're crazy. But yeah, I'm excited. That's going to be a really fun game. There's going to be a lot of buzz around that. I really, really hope Liberty's playing good football at the time because, that's, like I said before, I mean, it's just absolutely poetic that he gets his first shot to come back here. There's been a lot of rumors about him, and Tennessee and Auburn and different head coaching jobs that are open. Also a lot of rumors that he's being blocked by Greg Sankey for those. And so, if he got to come back into the SEC and say, hey, I'm here, I can coach, watch me beat this team on TV in front of you, it'd be too poetic. It sounds like a typical Ole Miss thing that could happen.
Yeah, Hugh Freeze only lost one game this past season, one game by 1 point.
Yep.
Last second field goal. So there it is.
Yeah.
Then they beat the other darling of the college football season, Coastal Carolina, in a crazy bowl game.
That was wild. That was.
Jake, some guy by the name of Palmer Toms, he must be a Georgia guy, is putting JT Daniels up against Matt Corral as the best returning quarterbacks in the conference.
Well, Palmer, I understand why you say that, being a Georgia boy and all. I'm kidding. I think that, I think JT Daniels is, talent-wise, I think he's right up there with Matt Corral. Obviously, the numbers from this past season favor Matt Corral. He's really only behind Sam Howell in returning quarterbacks for the 2021 season. As far as his numbers, he's up there with the best of them. If you take out the Arkansas and the LSU game, which accounts for 11 of his 13 interceptions, I believe, he's probably in the Heisman in the Heisman talk. And so, I'm going to be biased and I'm going to say that I think it is Matt Corral because I've been saying that for weeks now. And I'm also, I think that Ole Miss's offense is going to work really, really well around him next year. Like we were talking about earlier, I think that this was almost sort of a test run to see how, this Lane Kiffin offense is going to work in Oxford in the SEC again. It was third in the nation this year. It led the SEC and was third in the nation. And so, I've got to expect that it's only going to get better next year. Obviously, I would say the surrounding cast around JT Daniels is probably a heck of a lot more talented just from top to bottom. But Matt Corral's weapons in his line, it's no joke. Obviously, it's not chock full of 5-stars like it is down in Georgia, but it's a good unit. It's a good unit that put up a lot of points last year, and it's losing Elijah Moore and Kenny Yeboah, the two top targets in this offense. But I really don't expect there to be any drop off. Lane Kiffin always says, "Look, we're going to get our best guys the ball. That's who's going to make the plays for us." And so, I don't have any doubt that he's going to, find a way to fill those spots fairly easily. And so, yeah, like I said, I'm biased. Same way you're going to be biased there, but I got to go with Corral.
Well, there's one thing I can say going back to this 2021 schedule, even though it is typically SEC brutal, at the same time, Ole Miss does get a break catching Vandy every year.
Yeah,
that's something I hate about these schedules is they match up teams that don't belong because they think everybody needs to have a rival. Well, not everybody needs to have a rival. And actually, Jake, we're going to fix that this next week on Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. We're breaking down the schedule. We're going to completely fix it, rework it. We don't need that. So, then the other non-division game is Tennessee on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee's fairly talented, but obviously they're having their issues and a first-year head coach. So you at least catch a bit of a break there.
Yeah, absolutely. And ever since Vanderbilt has been the game, that automatic game in the East, every year it's just, could not be more thankful. There was a few rough years there with James Franklin. But other than that, it's pretty much a guaranteed win for the Rebels. There's not a whole lot that's guaranteed in SEC football, but Vanderbilt being average or well below average is pretty much a guarantee every year. Thankfully the Rebs haven't slipped up against Vandy in a couple years. But yeah, that's always a great one there because you like to think that that's an automatic win. And then Tennessee right here. This was, that's been the scheduled game for 2021 for years now. And it kind of just so happened that, we're lucky we're catching them at the right time. We're lucky we're not facing a Georgia. We're lucky we're not catching a Florida again. Somebody like that. We're lucky that we're getting two of the worst teams in the East over there. And we're catching them at a good time because, like you said, Tennessee's kind of a dumpster fire right now. And I've got no doubt that they'll figure it out. But I think it's going to take a while. I think it'll take them at least a year. And hopefully they don't figure it out before the Reds come to town.
Ole Miss has signed one of the top 5 defensive tackles in the nation, Tywan Malone, out of North Bergen there in New Jersey. We got Jake Evans on the line from the Rebel Walk to help us break down the 2021 recruiting class, 18th in the nation according to 247 Sports, and a 2021 schedule that features Louisville out of the gate in Atlanta on Jake's birthday, no less. Let's keep that in mind, everyone. And then, of course, a date against Hugh Freeze and Liberty in amongst a bunch of Alabama, LSU, Texas A&M kind of games. All right, Jake, we appreciate you stopping by. And I want to remind everybody out there that just keep it locked in where we are right here. Just keep it on the front page of my YouTube channel. We've got a Florida State show coming up here at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Then we'll be back here at 8 o'clock to take your calls and talk more SEC recruiting. Jake, anything else for us, man?
I got nothing yet. Like I said, it's a good day to be an Ole Miss Rebel. I feel like the last couple times I've been on here, things have been going really well. So I think we just need to just keep talking once a week. It seems like when I come on here, good things are happening. So, I'm happy for it. So yeah, Mark, thank you much.
Hey, Jake, I'm here. I'm here for you.
Yep, there we go.
You have a good one.
All right, you too.
Appreciate it.